Hello. Uh, we are going to start with the very basic question. What is economics? So, economics is, let me share a slide and tell you what it is all about. So, economics is, just a moment. Yeah. So, hope you can see this slide. So economics deals with production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. When we say production, we mean manufacturing, we mean agriculture, production of crops, forestry, fisheries, mining, all of that comes in production, and production of services also. So, production of goods, something which is tangible, which you can touch, and production of services. Economics looks at these things and evaluates it, designs it, recommends it, and things like that. Economics also looks into distribution, that I want to make certain thing reach a certain market. Punjab grows wheat, but as far as the consumption of wheat is concerned, the entire India eats wheat. So then how do I distribute the wheat of Punjab in such a way that it reaches all corners of India? So these are also the kind of questions that economics has to deal with. And together with that, economics deals with consumption. So consumption is you buy things with which can be food, which can be your shoes, it can be watch, it can be clock, anything. So economics deals with all of these activities, the activities of production, activities of distribution, and activities of consumption. So, I mean, now let us just find out what exactly does economics study, because when you are looking at a subject, you should know what is it that it studies and what is it that it never deals with. So, uh, economics studies only those things that are monitored well. Remember this. For anything, this is a golden principle. It studies only those things that have monetary value. So now let's see whether I would give you some examples and you tell me whether economics would be studying this or not. So analyzing Tata's decision to buy the factory of Jaguar, whether Tata should acquire the plant of Jaguar, should economics study this? Yes, the answer is yes. Okay. Why there are frequent attacks on Dalits in India? Should economics be studying this? Is there any monetary value attached to this? No. This is something which is dealing with the caste discriminations. Economics does not study. Who are the people living in North Sentinel Island? Now, what is North Sentinel Island? Let me show you. So, this is a picture of North Sentinel Islands, and these are in Indian Ocean. These are close to the Nicobar Islands, and these are inhabited by the people or by the tribe which does not have any contact with the outside world, and it does not like any contact with the outside world. So basically, it's a completely closed island. So, who are the people who are staying on this island? Does that have any monetary value? No. So, will economics study? No. Okay, got it? Then, um, uh, why are Dalits in India? The Dalits are mostly poor. Why? Would economics study this? Although economics would not study frequent attacks on Dalits, economics has to study the poverty of the Dalits because there money comes into picture, monetary value. So economics studies it. Yes. Okay. Which channel would be able to show the Olympic Games held in Tokyo of 2021? You saw that there was only some channels which were able to show it, and nobody else could show it. So, will economics study this? Of course it will. You have to buy rights to show the games. And those rights are generally auctioned, and the channel which wins it gets it. Economics, money, it's very easy. Okay, then um, how many medals will India win in Olympics? Does this involve any monetary value? No. No money transaction? No. So economics will not study this. What are the exports made by the North Sentinel Island? I just showed you the North Sentinel Island. So, what are the exports that North Sentinel Island will make? Think about it. It involves monetary value. That it will not export is a different matter, but you have to look into. You have to look into the economic system of North Sentinel Island. And that's why this once again becomes an economic question. What caused the recession of 2008? Recession. It's an economic term. Of course, economics studies it. Study destruction capacity of missiles. What do you think? Can economics study this? No. That is not at all the subject matter of economics. Economics does not have the tools to evaluate the destruction capacity of missiles. And election promise to reduce taxes. Would this be economics? Yes and no. It is politics because it is an election promise. But what would happen if you try to reduce taxes? What does this proposition mean as far as the economy is concerned? Economics, right? So you understood how economics studies certain things which have monetary value. Economics does not study the things that do not have monetary value. Okay. Uh, so this is the definition of economics, which I will not bother you much with. Uh, so now let's look at when economics does not. Now, economics does not apply for the places where, now let's stop this. Yes. So economics does not apply when the monetary transactions are not. So anything which is abundant, like air, like water. Clean water is a problem. Sea water is abundant. So you never sell sea water. You never sell air because it is abundant. Because you cannot attach any money value, any monetary value to these goods. So remember, guys, whenever you have to see whether economics applies or not, you have to find out whether that thing has economic value or not. It might be extremely precious for us. I mean, we can't live without air and water. But economics does not stop because it has no monetary value. I don't have to make a choice about breathing. I breathe automatically. And there are no problems. Okay. I have problems of breathing when I try to climb Mount Everest. Then that oxygen mask and that oxygen supply, oxygen tank that I carry on my back makes a difference. Then I count whether I can afford it. That is economics. But otherwise, any good which is abundant, there is no economics. So the usual example that I give is the example of Alibaba. That you must have heard about this story of Alibaba. That Alibaba discovers one cave where he says, Khulja Sim Sim. And the cave door opens, and there is so much wealth lying inside that 7 generations of Alibaba can survive. Alibaba does not have to count it. Economics does not apply to Alibaba. Okay, so economics applies only to the things where the resources are scarce. Resources have to be limited, and then you have to count that, okay, I have very little money. Okay, I have very little ink, and I have to write so many things. What will I write? Choices. You have to decide. You have to decide what is the best for you when you have very few resources. That is when economics comes in. Okay. And economics also comes into picture because you have so many wants. I want a car. I would like to have a Mercedes. I don't have money. I would like to have a BMW. I don't have money. Some kind of SUV. I don't have money. So then finally, you settle for something which you have money for and where you will get the best value for your money. That is what economics studies. Okay. So this is what I wanted you to understand. And now the last thing that you need to understand as far as economics is concerned is that economics is when it studies the human behavior, because all social sciences do that. When economics studies human behavior, economics makes some basic assumptions. So the first assumption that economics makes is that an individual is rational. What do you mean by that? An individual is rational. So if you are giving me something for 50 rupees, I will not give 100 rupees for that to anyone. Okay. So I mean, what I'm trying to say is that I enter a shop and the shopkeeper tells me that here is the shoes that you want. And the shoes are for 2000 rupees. And you say, no, 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 no. This is very unfair. You can't give me the shoes for 2000 rupees. I will pay nothing less than 3000 rupees. That is irrational. Economics does not study such. Economics studies the people who are rational, who make rational choices. Okay. And economics also studies or makes the assumption that individuals are not just rational, but they have their own interest as the most primary source of driving their behavior. So, if I go to buy something, I will make sure that I get the maximum value for it. I, not the person who is selling it for. Okay, it is self interest. Everybody finally takes all the actions which are basically meant in their self interest. You evaluate it in your own minds, and you will find that this is always going to purpose. Economics always studies only those behaviors which are monetary. And when people indulge into monetary transactions, they will always do what is best for themselves. Even if it means that it is a loss for the other person, I don't care as long as I gain. So, economics assumes that individuals are rational, and economics assumes that individuals act in self interest. So, these are the most important points that I wanted to point out as far as economics is concerned. And with that, we will finish today's lecture. Thank you.